Hey guys, this is RG Bellio again with Six Logistics. Today we are again going to talk about securement, but now we are going to deal with what is referred to as often as a suicide coil. Now, not a pleasant way to talk about coils or to really think about, but the reason they call them suicide coils is because if you don't secure them properly and you cut corners and you do some of the things you're not supposed to be doing, you will literally be committing suicide, right? So it's a very easy way to remember the gravity of what we are doing out there. So again, it's referred to as a suicide coil or an eye to the side because again, the driver's side of the trailer is this way and the other side is the passenger side. So again, eye to the side, or more commonly known as a suicide. So this particular coil weighs just under 45,000 pounds. It's 44,600. Again, easy math, 45. Scott, again, in this particular case, has 6 chains on. Each chain has a value of roughly 10,000 pounds. So again, easy math, 6 chains, 10,000 pounds per chain, 60,000 pounds. 2 straps, another 5,000 per strap. So 2 straps is another 10,000. So he has a total of 70,000 pounds of securement on a coil that effectively weighs 45,000. Now, going to start pointing out a couple things, right? So the front of the trailer is over here, or his truck is to my right, and the back of his trailer is this way. And if you look at the way his chains are pulling, he has 1, 2, 3 pulling backwards towards the back of the trailer, 1 pulling straight down, and then 2 pulling to the front, right? So it's giving that opposite effect of, again, 3 chains pulling backwards, 1 down, 2 to the front. Now, why 3 to the back? Okay. If you're in a panic stop and you need to go from 65 miles an hour down to 0 immediately, which way is the coil going to go? It's going to go that way, right? Not only the momentum of the truck, but as you're slamming on the brakes, the coil wants to go this way. So again, we're pulling towards the back of the trailer to kind of prevent that. So really, if you count them really in essence, right, there's really kind of 4 sort of pulling back, 2 pulling forward. Again, the semis have incredibly powerful motors, but we're not a Corvette. Our 0 to 60 is like 3 minutes. So we're not worried about the coil going out the back of the trailer. We're worried about going from 0 to 60, or from 65 to 0 in the matter of, 10 seconds, right? So that's why he has the chains in the direction that he does. Now, the 2 straps. Here's another way of looking at it. The chains are pulling the coil down. The straps are pushing the coil down. So it just helps ensure that if, God forbid, the coil begins to rock for whatever reason, now it never should, but if it begins to rock somewhat, you have, again, not only that pulling effect, but pushing effect as well. So, and again, you can see his edge protectors, you can see the blankets on top. He's put the blankets and then the straps on, and that way, as he puts the tarp on, the blankets don't kind of get moved around. And kind of fall on him. It's just an easier way to do it. I want to show you another image and get my head out of the way. So generally speaking, you need a coil rack, and a coil rack is this right here. It's roughly, I don't know, 2.5 feet long, maybe a little, I don't know, 1.5. I'm not sure exactly. I've never actually measured. But generally speaking, you want 1 coil rack per 10,000 pounds of coil with a minimum always of 3. Okay. So if your coil weighs 20,000 pounds, you still want 3 coil racks. If it weighs 40,000 pounds or more, you use 4. Again, if it's 50,000 pounds or close to it, you have 5 on, right? So in this case, Scott has a 45,000 pound coil. You round up to 50,000. He has 5 coil racks. You can't actually see the 1 coil rack because it's under what we refer to as a coil mat or a coil rubber. You can have 1, 2, or 3 on there. It just actually he does have 2 on. Now that I say there's 1, 2, he has 2 coil mats on. But again, it just the more coil rack, think of it like a pencil, right? So the reason you have more coil racks, the heavier the coil gets. Again, like a pencil, when the pencil is shorter and you try to break it, it's harder to break when your fingers are closer together. The longer the pencil is, the easier it is to break if you're trying to break it. Same idea. The thing that is effectively holding a coil down is the wood, the beveled lumber right here. And then the coil racks, again, are kind of holding that in place. So let me show you another image. Okay, here we go. So here's one more thing. And again, you can kind of see the way his chains are, how it's kind of going up the coil, right? Because it's holding it back. He has 3 pulling back, 1 down, 2 to the front. Perfect. Now, again, if you look at his binders, right? Some of them have a little bit of the red on there. Some of them kind of look like a dirty brown. But you look right there, right? And that is kind of the screw portion of the chain binder. And those are, roughly 8 inches long when you unscrew them completely. But you see how that is kind of completely black there. And the reason it's black while the rest of his binder is kind of that dirty brownish color or almost like a grayish, and some of them are red, right? This one, oops, where are we? This one is red here, but the next one is kind of that dirty brown gray. But where the screw goes, it's that black color. The reason it's that black color is Scott, as all of our guys are supposed to, is dabs a little bit of oil to ensure that as he's binding that chain binder, it is oiled or lubricated properly so that it's in smooth order as you're binding, and he's able to get it tighter and tighter, right? So it's just doing some of those little things, guys. The metal edge protectors, right? It doesn't bite on the side of the coil, so that way it's a little bit smoother as he's tightening down his chain. He has all of his chains on one side. Some guys like to alternate. Some guys will have, 2 or 3, or again, 6 total. So you have 3 chains on the driver's side, 3 chains on the passenger side. Guys do it. I always did it on one side. I just thought it was a little bit easier. But to each their own there. But again, it is a very great job of securing. Because it's a 44,600 pound coil. Scott rounded up to 50,000, and then he added 1 more, so he gave him 60,000 pounds of chain securement. And then again, the 2 straps for an additional 10,000, pushing it up to 70,000. Again, guys, they're called suicide coils for a reason. If you don't secure it properly, you're literally committing suicide. And there's a million pictures out there on Google, and you can check all of them to see why you don't want to secure that way. But this is a beautiful way of securing it. You need to slam on the brakes. That load is not going anywhere, and he's not going to be committing suicide, right? So it all goes back, guys. Be smart, and ultimately you'll be safe. But you cut corners, stupid out there, you're committing suicide, and you're playing with your life. And how long did it take him to add the additional chain and 2 straps, right? You're talking, 5 minutes for the chain, and let's say another 5 minutes for the straps. Maybe 10 minutes is worth his life. I know it's worth my life. Certainly worth your life. So again, guys, be smart, and you'll be safe. RG with 6 Logistics. Be good. Bye-bye.